You're with Julian on the Brown Note and a review of Jurassic World Rebirth. So, two of the new big additions to streaming on the show today from Gareth Edwards, who's had a very interesting run and I think is a very talented filmmaker, even if it hasn't fully shown yet. He did the incredibly artistic looking first Godzilla film, and then he did Rogue One, which is a beloved Star Wars film, one of the only recent, by actually the best Star Wars film since Return of the Jedi. And then The Creator, which was a fascinating sci-fi film. The production design on it was out of the park, absolutely incredible. So we get this very, very normal paradigm, which is franchise will lie low for a few years and then they'll release 3 films in a row. And Jurassic Park hasn't really lied low for very long. So we had the Jurassic World trilogy, which was incredibly bashed by critics, and rightly so. Although it did prove a point, which is bad Jurassic Park movies are kind of enjoyable. And this one has proven the case again by absolutely trouncing Superman and the Fantastic Four at the box office with 800 million versus 600 million. That's like completely destroyed its opposition, despite having the worst reviews of all of them. And this time around, they've swapped from Bryce Dallas Howard as the lead, with Chris Pratt as the male lead, to Scarlett Johansson helming the new ones. The plot is, like, they call it Rebirth, but actually the story is Jurassic Park 3. It is exactly the same setup, where there's one group of sort of mercenary types going to an island, and there's a small group of members of the public going to the island as well, and they get sort of mixed together. That's it. That's the whole thing. There really isn't anything else going on here. Like, at least in the Jurassic World films 2 and 3, we got interesting paradigms that hadn't existed in the previous Jurassic Park movies. This reminded me of Alien Romulus, which is to go back all the way to the start and just rehash completely what had already happened. There's not one original component. Actually, there is, and it's really badly done, which is we do finally get a new kind of dinosaur that is very different looking to other dinosaurs, and it looks terrible. I don't know what they were thinking here. So they genetically manipulate the dinosaurs to appease the public by making new and exciting variants of dinosaurs, and there's this massive one. It just reminded me of the worm from Empire Strikes Back. For a film whose number one component is visuals, which are stunning. So the best thing about this film is the visuals. Like the island, which I think is Sulawesi or somewhere they shot it, is amongst the most beautiful and interesting looking island locations I've ever seen. There's a bit on the beach with, not pristine waves, quite choppy and messy, but it just looks amazing. It's so colourful and high definition. Where this film falls apart absolutely terribly is dialogue and acting. It's got the dialogue and acting of a very low budget horror film, which is astonishing. Actually, I think Gareth Edwards' film The Creator, that was an area where that film fell down, and maybe Godzilla too, but not to this extent. Not to the fact that the performances and dialogue should have been in a very low budget horror film. So we get the mercenary Scarlett Johansson. I've not seen Scarlett Johansson bad in anything before. I've never seen her look like she has been less interested in being in a movie. But it is great to see that she can continually helm massive successes outside MCU, maybe more than anyone. So I'm glad to see her pneumatically appearing in this film, but she's not good, and that's very rare. But neither is anyone else. We do get Mahershala Ali, who is all right, and Rupert Friend, but we also get this family where the daughter is going out with a ne'er-do-well and they get washed up on the island as well. There's some of the cringiest stuff you'll ever see. It is so... I actually forwarded some of the scenes where the dad is coming to know the boyfriend because I was cringing so much. And it makes the film very difficult to watch. So I will watch Jurassic World movies and so on, but there's nothing compared to Bryce and Chris Pratt, and that was a low bar. Although I said, Bryce Dallas Howard in those Jurassic World films was undoubtedly the massive high point of all of those movies. She was fantastic. Chris Pratt was... there you go. Nothing anywhere near as compelling or interesting or as full of personality as those two were in this film at all. The cast is uniformly terrible. The whole flow of the story is pain-inducingly a rehash of Jurassic Park 3. It does look magnificent. There's just no reason for this film. It really doesn't need to exist. And how it's a rebirth, couldn't they have actually done something different? So I thought this was actually terrible. So I'm going to give Jurassic World Rebirth a 2 out of 10. One of the worst films I've seen this year.